This course will teach students how to effectively communicate their teaching materials through words and images, how to use audio to describe visuals, how to avoid overwhelming learners with extraneous media effects, how to design examples and practice exercises that develop new skills, and how to effectively use networked collaborative facilities for learning. In this chapter, you will learn about reasons for using ICT and some issues in using ICT. There are a number of categories of reasons why ICT is an important teaching and learning tool. We have divided these into 5 groups: political, personal; professional, pupils' needs, professional; curriculum, and professional, educational theory. The government wants all pupils to have the necessary skills. Hence, their teachers need to know and understand the importance of ICT. Industry and government advisors suggest these transferable skills are needed by all in the modern information society. They include problem solving and communication. ICT in schools works in different ways. We suggest that in addressing its effects, it is important to recognize that ICT may be used for a wide range of purposes: to administer schools, to train students in skills which they will need in further education and ongoing learning throughout the rest of their lives and for their future jobs, e.g., word processing, computer programming, etc., to provide access to information and communication outside the classroom walls, video conferencing with students in other countries, using the internet, etc., to support teacher development through external networks, to support and potentially transform the learning or teaching process in many and diverse ways. Many teachers use ICT in their own personal lives, as do many other adults in our society. Teachers may do their personal accounts using spreadsheets. They may write letters and articles using word processing. They may enjoy computer games or surfing art or antique collections on the web. But there are also professional reasons linked to personal ones which may affect educators. The need for professional development may be a reason for further use of ICT, especially if this is connected to promotion. Many teachers also join professional organizations linked to education, partly as a personal interest and partly for professional reasons. Professional or pupils' needs. Many pupils also live in homes which are rich in ICT, using computers, CD-ROM, and the internet regularly with help from parents and siblings. Again, teachers need to be aware of such developments in order to help these pupils learn better. There are also pupils in our schools who come from less affluent or less richly resourced backgrounds. Teachers need to be aware of these possibilities and to provide opportunities for all pupils to make the best use of the technology available in both school and home. New curriculum changes are often announced through ICT media like the internet. Many trainee teachers and those looking for jobs find this information about schools extremely valuable when preparing for job hunts and interviews. The national curriculum is available on websites, including the texts of all the national curriculum documents. Professional or pedagogic theories. Effective teaching takes account of the different learning styles of pupils. For this reason, teachers usually present and explain material in different ways. This enables them to communicate with pupils who, in any group, will have a range of preferred learning styles. The 2 basic dimensions of cognitive style may be summarized as follows. 1. The holistic analytic style, whether an individual tends to process information in whole or in part. 2. The verbal imagery style, whether an individual is inclined to represent information during thinking verbally or in mental images. There are some issues in using ICT. Writing in audience, computer in classrooms or computers in suites. Access to phone line in the classroom, parents and computers, cost and cutting them, time, and literacy hour. Writing in audience. Children gain a lot from cooperative writing projects when they use the communication power of the internet, in terms of their confidence and motivation. One of the major criticisms one hears from Ofsted about children's writing is that it too often has only one contrived audience: the teacher. A real audience, interested in communication and replying, is much more motivating and encourages children to put a lot more effort into drafting and redrafting their writing. computers in classrooms or computers in suites. However, the advent of the new communication technologies does have implications for the ways in which computers are used in schools, especially in primary schools. It does not seem sensible for every classroom to have one computer. How can any teacher integrate just one computer into the work of the whole class? Surely our primary classrooms need to have at least 4 or 5 computers, if not yet one per child. Then a group of children can spend enough time using ICT so that they actually develop some skills and understanding from the hardware. Yet the costs of this approach would be excessive in most primary schools. One common solution is to set up a computer suite or a special computer room. This decision needs to be examined carefully, recognizing the advantages and drawbacks. Access to phone lines in the classroom. The telecommunication part of computer use also needs some examination. With the new internet access, teachers and children will need more time to browse the networks in order to find the right resources for their own needs. This will mean they will need more access to telephone lines in classrooms, rather than having to use the head's or secretary's telephone line. Teachers will need to lobby the school governors and parents to persuade them that such changes are needed. And not just ordinary copper telephone lines, but preferably the broadband type, ISDN, which costs more to start with but actually saves money by being a lot faster. Schools are now investing in the networking of their computer equipment so that all classes can get access to the internet and the school's internal intranet. Parents and computers. In fact, it is perhaps the parents who will be our closest allies in the development of schools online. Many parents are now buying computer systems for educational purposes. Many are aware of the enormous potential of the information superhighway. Most are keen to help their children cope with the changing world so that they gain the skills and flexible approach to new technologies they will need in their own working lives. What will it cost? Telephone charges are often thought to be the big problem with telecommunication, especially the idea of browsing online. This can be a problem, but schools are usually very conscious of these costs and find ways to reduce them. It is worthwhile training the children to be aware of the economic aspects of telecommunication from an early age. Some practice at browsing through CD-ROM will help children to understand how to use such technologies efficiently. Increasingly, the service provided which links people and their computers to the internet is free, because the service provider relies on advertising to earn income. This free service is more problematic in education, though, since we may not want to give children access to some of the products advertised. Time. Most schools which are successful with telecommunication rely on the children themselves to carry out many of the tasks, leaving the teacher to concentrate on teaching, rather than being the technical expert. The time it takes to prepare and then update a website can be daunting for many teachers. So one answer is recruiting volunteers to help. There are perhaps children in the school with parents or siblings who have the necessary skills and even the interest to support the school in this. Literacy Hour. The use of communication technologies obviously concerns language, since that is the traditional medium for communication. But we now communicate through pictures and moving images just as much as through words. The notion of graphical literacy is one which is beginning to be researched in order to find out whether teachers need to adapt their teaching materials and practices to the new skills of the pupils. There are many opportunities to support the literacy through the use of ICT.